Hi everyone. Today I am explaining the concept of the prisoner's dilemma and how it applies to the gaming console market. Formally, a prisoner's dilemma is a situation where two players would both be better off cooperating, but each has an incentive to act in their own self-interest. When both players choose self-interest, they end up worse off than if they had cooperated. Informally, it's basically a trap. Each side thinks if I do what benefits me now, I'll come out ahead. But when both sides think that way, they lose their potential gains. The gaming console market is a clear example of this. Sony PlayStation and Microsoft Xbox are the two dominant firms. If both cooperated by keeping console prices high and limiting expensive exclusives, they would earn more profit, but each has an incentive to defect. Sony can try to win market share through exclusives like their God of War. Alternatively, Microsoft can try to gain their market share through their own exclusive like Gears of War, or by lowering prices and expanding their services. When both defect from that, they end up in a competitive struggle that reduces their profits that they could have earned under their cooperation. To make this easy to see, I'm using the three franchises from my own physical collection. The God of War, that is the PlayStation exclusive, and the Gears of War, which is for Xbox only. These represent defection, where each company locked into its own platform to gain an advantage. Now I have another franchise, Borderlands. We have Borderlands 3 on both the Xbox and the PlayStation. It's cross-platform. That represents cooperation, a game released everywhere which benefits both companies and players. These three franchises show the structure clearly. Cooperation would mean fewer exclusives and higher share profits. Defection means exclusives and competition. Both companies choose defection, and they both end up in a lower profit outcome predicted by the model. But in the last 2 days, industry news show that a new phase of this dilemma is no longer about exclusives. It's going to be about control over distribution. Both Sony and Microsoft have now confirmed that their next consoles will ship with no disk drives at all, signaling a full shift to digital-only hardware. Sony has announced the physical game production will end in 2028. Sorry, 2028. And Microsoft is moving to a disc to digital conversion system for their newer Xbox discs. Once physical media disappears, both companies gain total control over pricing, access, and resale. And neither can afford to let the other be the only one to make that move. So again, they're both going to defect. So this ties directly back to the prisoner's dilemma. Both companies would benefit from keeping physical media alive, disc support, ownership, resale, competition, and consumer goodwill. But each has an incentive to eliminate discs to cut their costs and increase control. Once one defects, the other has to as well. The result is exactly what that model predicts. Both companies end up less consumer-friendly equilibrium, even though cooperation would have preserved more long-term value. Looking ahead, the future of PlayStation Xbox duopoly will be shaped by global economic pressure more than traditional gaming trends. AI centers are consuming unprecedented amounts of high-end silicon, driving up the cost of memory, storage, and advanced chip fabrication. Both Sony and Microsoft are being forced to rethink next-gen even means. Whether the duopoly survives in the current form will depend on how well they adapt to the world where their cutting edge hardware is expensive, the supply chains are strained by the AI demand, and consumers are increasingly sensitive to price. And that includes me, because I am now completely going to restructure how we look at our gaming. The next generation won't just be a battle of exclusives. It'll be a test of who can innovate under the economic pressure without pricing players out of the ecosystem. I hope that helped you understand the prisoner's dilemma and how it works within a duopoly.